Welcome to another edition of 300 Voices in 300 Days on TAN TV. I'm your host, Vance Bradford, and today's guest is Dr. Howard Self. How you doing, Dr. Self?
I'm doing fine.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you. Glad to be here. Yes, sir. Going to jump right into the interview, okay?
Okay.
All right, sir. Tell us, where were you born?
And I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay. Oh, North Carolina, huh?
Yes.
Yes, sir. You're a Tar Heel fan or?
I left so long ago. I left in 1949, so I guess I'm a Spurs fan now.
Okay. Well, hold that thought, then we'll get right back to them Spurs, okay?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Tell me, where did you attend school? Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to several colleges.
Okay.
First college was the University of Maryland, and after the University of Maryland was the University of Missouri, and I went to the University of Indiana. When I came to Texas, I went to Southwest Texas State, Texas Lutheran, St. Philip's, several different colleges.
Yes, sir. Well educated.
I was in the military, so I went to school at night. Anytime I had an opportunity to go, that's when I went.
Okay. Well, speaking of the military, what branch of service were you in, sir?
Air Force. I did 26 years in the Air Force. I retired as a Chief Master Sergeant in 1975.
Okay. Did you have a particular type job? Did you?
My main job was recruiting. I was an Air Force recruiter for 16 years, and and besides that, I was a first sergeant. I did a couple of tours as doing first sergeants as a first sergeant. Mm-hmm. And other than that, when I first started, I was in the band. In fact, I was in the band over at Lackland Air Force Base. And after I got out of the band, I went into supply. And so that was pretty much it as far as after 26 years out of 16 in recruiting. So that means only 10 years I had on these other jobs.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now, you mentioned the band. You was in the band?
Yeah.
Did you play instrument or?
Yeah, I played trumpet.
You're a trumpet?
Yeah.
Ooh, I tried trumpet. But...
I played trumpet and piano, but in the band, I played trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very talented, huh, sir? Very talented. Okay. I'm actually, so you went to several colleges, so what did you major?
I guess it would have to be music. Music education.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'll tell you what. Okay. So now, let's bring it up to the current here. And can you tell the people that's watching TAN TV, what do you do now?
I'm the president, CEO of Shelf Management Group.
Okay.
Under the Shelf Management Group, you have several different things under the Shelf Management Group. But the main thing we do is real estate.
Okay.
I'm a real estate broker. I've been a real estate broker since 1958.
Wow. Can I say that's when I was born?
Huh?
That's when I was born. 58.
That's a long time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm telling my age too. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So now I've heard you had many accomplishments in real estate, and giving young black realtors a chance to progress in this field.
No, it's just not young blacks. Okay. I help everybody.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. I organized my first real estate company in 1978 here in San Antonio. And at that time, I'm sure I had the most integrated real estate company in this city.
Okay.
But in order for me to get the people the way I wanted them, I paid for them to go to school. I sent them to real estate. I paid for their tuition.
Wow.
They finished school. The men, I gave them money to buy 3-piece suits. The ones that needed transportation, I put a lot of them in Mercedes when they couldn't afford a Pinto. Okay. But it's all about image.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's been nice to work for you. I know but I know you had them working hard too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
But what really, I had not planned to stay here in San Antonio. I came to San Antonio in 1971, and my wife had worked at Hallmark Cards in Kansas City. We had the money to purchase a house, but nobody would sell us a house. They wouldn't even show us a house. We'd go out to subdivision, even Camelot, and they wouldn't even come out of the office. The salespeople sitting back there, and they wouldn't even come out of the office to wait on us. So finally, my wife found a house in Live Oak. I worked, so all day she would look for houses. Found a house in Live Oak. Secretary came out, showed us the house, gave us the price, and that evening the broker met us back out there. We was going to do the contract. All of a sudden, in about 2 hours, the house increased by $25,000. Okay? So we just moved on the base. Moved on the base and stayed there for about 2 years. My wife never quit looking for houses. She found a house in University City, and I had one of my friends from Kansas City had a real estate license. He wrote the contract. His name is Claude Shannon. He wrote the contract. Name of the company was Schoolcraft. And but they did not want us to have the house. They didn't want him to write the contract. He wrote it anyway. He stayed on it. We got the house, but as a result of him letting us have the house, they blackballed him the rest of his real estate career.
Really?
Okay? Yes. It was very bad. Then I was out, once we got the house, we bought a house in University City on Forest Trail. I was out working on the yard one day, and this gentleman came by and he stopped. He said, "Man, you sure doing a nice job on your yard?" He said, "How'd you like to go into real estate?" I said, "I was in real estate in Kansas City." I said, I would like it. He said, "Why don't you come to work for me?" He had a company called Randolph Realty. So I said, okay. So I went to SAAACAM, and I took the necessary, in other words, Missouri and Kansas didn't have reciprocal agreement where you could automatically get by virtue of having a license in Missouri, you could come here. You had to go back to school. So I went back to school, and I got my license. I went to work for him, and I worked in the evening, and then that was in 1974. In 75, I was a chief master sergeant in the Air Force, and I was making more money selling real estate than I was as a chief master sergeant in the Air Force, so I thought it was time for me to retire. So I retired and went to work full time with him. And but that's what pushed me to get into real estate, because the way African Americans was treated as far as housing. And it's not just African Americans, all minorities, same thing. They we all went through had the same thing. Mexican Americans, same thing. Okay, what they would do if once they started selling houses, once I came in, I sold to everybody. I didn't care. If you came to me, I'll sell your house. But if you go out to the subdivision, the bad lots, the ones by the drainage ditch, real bad, slanted lots, that's the one they reserve for blacks, okay? They tell you they don't want blacks on the corner lot because they didn't want, when white people come through there, they didn't want little black-nosed, snotty-nosed kids to kill their business on the corner. They'll hide them in the back somewhere, okay? So that's why I stayed here. And that was Ray Ellison at the time, and then now it's KB Homes. Things have changed some, but we still have a problem in the house. We still have it.
So you wanted to you got into it so you can sell to everybody, huh?
Well, I hate discrimination. I hate it, okay?
That's tough.
I grew up, I'm a depression baby.
Okay.
Out of North Carolina. However, where I came from, my community was self-sufficient. Even though it's down south, we didn't rely on anybody for anything. We had our own. We had our brick masons, we had our carpenters, we had our own bus. We didn't sit in the back of the bus, you know.
Yes, sir.
So it was almost like Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
But they had R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, and the people who worked at R.J. Reynolds made a lot of money.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's very interesting. Very interesting,
Yeah.
Dr. Self. I'll tell you, let me ask you this. Staying in San Antonio here, what do you think your greatest contribution to the San Antonio area?
That I made to San Antonio?
Yes, sir, that you feel you contribute to San Antonio.
Making it possible for minorities, not just black people, but for minorities to get decent housing. That's the contribution I made.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. What is the best thing you like about San Antonio? And how long have you been here?
Since 1971.
Okay.
But this is not the first time I came here. First time I came here was 1949, and I came back in 1956 to go to the recruiting school. And I in 1956, when I came back here, I went on the east side. I went to saw K Street, J Street, all them alphabetical letter streets. And beautiful. I went back and told everybody, I said, man, these people in San Antonio, they really doing it in San Antonio. And I came back down here in 1971, them beautiful houses was the ghettos.
Just that quick, huh?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. But I don't know. But as far as me, for Kansas, San Antonio, the number one thing in San Antonio, this is a military town. I'm retired military, and I feel with the medical care that I get from my family, I think it put a lot of years on my life. Right now, I'll be 88 years old, October the 15th.
And, you don't say.
I can roll with you.
Yes, sir. When I saw you walking in, I told you, I said, look at there, they're distinguished there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you had mentioned earlier about them Spurs. You a Spurs fan? You a Spurs fan?
Yeah, I'm a Spurs fan, and yeah, most definitely.
Took a hard one last year with Kawhi going out, huh?
Huh?
When Kawhi went out last year against the Warriors?
Yeah.
Kind of hurt him.
Yeah, sure did. But I like the Spurs, and I like Pop, and what I really like about Pop, Pop, tell it the way it is. I'll tell you, he's Pop doesn't have a prejudice bone in his body, okay? And I know a lot of people hate him that he come out, but he tells. He don't hold his tongue.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to talk about the president.
We okay. We'll keep it smooth.
Huh?
We'll keep it San Antonio.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
right. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
But let me tell you this, though. Let me ask you this. Why do you feel that it's important that we tell our stories?
I think it's important for our young people coming up. They have no idea what's going on. You know, it's things that the young people coming along today take for granted. We paid for that, so we need to let them know how it was. Okay, I first came to San Antonio. They had signs, you know. And I'm not going to say the words, but no dogs and no, you know what.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, it's, now what I was impressed with San Antonio back in the day, because they had their own city before integration. San Antonio was quite the place. Mm-hmm. Commerce Street, Houston Street, they had their nightclubs, everything. Mm-hmm. But now, things have changed. Back in the day, they had African Americans had the convenience stores in the community. And now you go into the community now, the convenience store is owned by people from Saudi Arabia. The hotel's owned by people from India. The nail tech shops are owned by people from Vietnam. Everybody got something except us. Okay? And that's the cycle that I want to break.
Okay.
But everybody else work together. The other cultures work together. And if we could start working together as a race, I think we could achieve a lot more.
Well said, sir. Well said.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I sold hotel franchises at one time. And I would go to the hotel, mom and pop hotel, and all these guys, most of them Indian, from India. 90% of all hotels owned by people from India. Mm-hmm. I said, Mr. Patel, I said, you got a nice location here. I said, I sure would like to put a Radisson Hotel franchise here. He said, yeah, that sounds good. He said, how much did that cost? I said, $35,000. He said, okay. And I said, I can get you $5 million to develop it. He says, well, if I decide to go, I really don't need your $5 million. I said, just out of curiosity, Mr. Patel, how do you get your money? He said, we help each other. He said, we're not like your culture. He said, 1 week, Sam Patel helped Danny Patel. Next week, Danny Patel helped Susie Patel. Next week, Susie Patel helped Linda Patel. So we don't lend money. We don't go to your bank. We just exchange money, and we help each other. He said,
that's a great lesson. Yes, sir.
So that's what we had to start doing. We have to quit. We have to start helping each other, and keeping that money in the community. You know, I sold a house to a gentleman 2 weeks ago. He's from Saudi Arabia. So he came here 15 years ago, flat broke. He says within a year he had made $85,000. Mm. He opened a convenience store on New Braunfels, right here on the east side. He said right now that convenience store is grossing $150,000 a week. Mm. And he told me, he said, the problem with your people is that they afraid to take a chance. All they want to do is work for somebody. They don't want to they are afraid of failure.
Yeah, that's tough there. But you can't, that's how you advance. If you don't fail,
Yeah.
you don't know what winning is. So you gotta, so,
Yeah.
It's great lessons, Dr. Sell. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. It's been a great interview.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, is there one last thing? Now, are you still, are you currently doing your realtor work here in San Antonio still?
Yeah. Well, the company's here. I'm on the umbrella for the whole company is the Shelf Management Group.
Okay.
And I'm the president CEO of Shelf Management Group. My son is a real estate broker. I have a son that's a real estate broker. I have a daughter that's a real estate broker. So it's all in the family.
All in the family. Okay.
Yeah.
So to find you up, we'll just have to look up Shelf Management Group. Is that, or you have a website you want to give us or anything?
HowardShelf.com.
Okay. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of 300 Voices in 300 Days with our very special guest, Dr. Howard Shelf. And I'm your host, Vance Bradford. Thanks.